So, just reflecting on that theme of enjoying the quiet mind. It's the I think it's an important. Before at the beginning of tea, I was talking to John and saying if I had any thoughts of pursue some thoughts on the some ideas that I gave in a talk earlier this summer, a little while ago, probably a month or so ago. And just around we have to, in order to really sort of grow in the Dhamma, we have to be able to be comfortable with the mind being settled, being able to be familiar with this settled mind. Sometimes I hesitate to say that one of the terms that we use is concentration, like concentrating the mind. The word that the Buddha uses is samadhi, and it's much more around settling. Concentration in English is, just if you think of the literal translation of concentration is to make something small, and you're concentrating a liquid, concentrating something. It was concentrated into something smaller, and I don't think you want to make the mind small. We managed to do that quite well. So we lived in pretty cramped minds sometimes, so it's like getting some space there. Getting a feeling of ease with the mind being very, very spacious and settled and clear. But it's because it's really like an attitude of mind, where we're taking an interest in things in a different way, like taking interest in the ending of things. Like just when we're sitting and paying attention to the breath, paying attention to the in-breath and the out-breath, and just paying attention to thought, and it's really interesting to shift his attention into paying attention to the ending of the breath. Because oftentimes we're really good at beginnings. And particularly of thought, we're going always on to the next thought, the next project, the next thing to do, the next thing to be. And just really paying attention to the ending, and just becoming peaceful with the ending of thought, and just the ending of a thought. delighting in the space that opens up when there's that sense of, okay, that's the end of the thought. This is the paying attention to the non-arising of thought. Because often, I can't stop my mind from thinking. It's true. You can't stop your mind from thinking. It's good. It does it all the time. It does it quite well on its own. But what do we pay attention to? We tend to get caught up in the content of it, or to get caught in the particular mood of the mind, but just to let the shift of perspective and all the non-arising of thought. It's not. There's a peacefulness there that's really interesting to explore. So just to give oneself that encouragement and realizing that this we do really we really do crave, I think in a good way, we do crave peace. There's something so much more satisfying when the mind is peaceful, it's settled, and there's stillness, and it's not trying to annihilate movement, or trying to annihilate thought, or trying to annihilate moods of the mind, which we tend to do, but enjoying the stillness of the mind. So it's like just being in this hall, or being in any space really, but this is a good example where this is, part of it is it's like a straw bale structure that's really well insulated, and it seems to contain the sound. So it's really still, and it's really it's just really pleasant. So that just taking the opportunity to enjoy. So it's not, and I think, say like the Buddha talks of the, there's something in the heart that really craves peace, and it's interesting because one, the Buddha is pretty explicit that in the Four Noble Truths, cause of suffering is desire. So it's like, okay, I can't desire anything. There I go again. I'm desiring it, but it's interesting that there's that the Buddha uses, there's in Buddha's terminology and the language that the Buddha used. There's a couple different forms of desire, so that when the Buddha says desire is the cause of suffering, the word he uses is tanha, and tanha is it's desire that's mixed up with greed, hatred, delusion, with the different things that kind of stain the mind, taint the mind, that sense of seeking gratification, stimulation, excitement, just trying to prop up a sense of identity in me. And, what do they think of me? and to realize, that those are different kinds of desire that are, the Buddha calls tanha, and that inevitably ends in suffering. But there's a set of teachings that the Buddha gave in the kind of fundamental teachings that the Buddha gave he said these were the kind of wings to awakening, the factors of enlightenment, of awakening. And one of the sets is the four bases of spiritual success. And the very first quality that the Buddha points to is a word that's translated as desire, but it's chanda, and chanda is desire that is like, it's a wholesome desire. Maybe motivation is a better word. How do we motivate ourselves? How do we lift up the mind? Because we need to have, we have to motivate ourselves. You have to motivate yourself to get up in the morning. You have to motivate yourself to do all sorts of things. And certainly on the spiritual path, we have to motivate ourselves to restrain the mind from that which is really unskillful and wholesome. We have to motivate ourselves to lift up that which is the beautiful qualities of mind, being generous, being kind. There needs to be a bit of a motivation, and we have to use our mind to be able to encourage ourselves. So that in a sense of inclining the mind to stillness, to being settled, we can accomplish so much more when we're not frantic. We're so much, whether it's a spiritual endeavor or whether it's our duties and responsibilities in the world, to bring a quality say, rather than using stillness, maybe steadiness. Your mind is steady. It's ready to, and that's actually one of the words when the Buddha describes samadhi, concentration, or the mind that's really settled. One of the words that he uses is kammaniya, which means ready for work. And so it's like the mind that is still, there's an energy that's there that's ready to apply itself. It's ready to do the work of investigation, to do the work of looking after the well-being of the heart. And it's ready to do the work of kind of sorting out what is it that's really wise and accords with truth. It's ready to do that work. So the stillness of mind is not a stillness of apathy or a stillness of in the Thai language, they've got an idiom to describe kind of dull meditation. It's sort of like this the stillness of a stump. So we don't want to aspire to be stumps. It's this opportunity to create, and be a part of creating a heart of well-being that is really ready to apply itself. So another term that the Buddha uses when he describes the mind of samadhi, the mind of say, the concentrated mind, is the muttu, which means like malleable. It's malleable. It's adaptable. It's not rigid. It's not fixed. There's a malleability. Because especially one has to learn how to be adaptable as if anything that our practice gives is there's an ease of adapting to circumstance. It's because the mind is again, you're coming from a still, clear mind. The heart is not. There's not got a fixed agenda. It's not just okay. It's not got a fixed opinion about the situation or the people or yourself that you're moving into. Because we end up with all sorts of fixed and rigid ideas about ourselves and who we are, what we need, what we can't stand, what we have to have. The list sort of gets pretty long sometimes. It's just this, but just being really adaptable, malleable. There's a beauty in that. So that learning how to incline the heart to that because that's just in the Buddha's teachings, the Buddha repeats it over and over and over again. I teach only two things: suffering and the ending of suffering. And it's a really practical goal. This is a tangible benefit. It's not about some ethereal kind of distant ideal that we should realize. What are we experiencing, and what's the limitation that we're experiencing? How do we be free from that? How do we let that go? How do we relinquish the limitations that we place on our hearts? And and what's left is peace and clarity. And that's something that is so worthwhile to put one's attention on. But again, it comes from being willing to apply a different perspective and a shifted perspective that we're using the Dhamma. Using the teachings of the Buddha, using the principles that the Buddha gave us to measure things, whether it's measuring the mind or measuring the circumstances that we're in, but because we do tend to be conditioned in different ways, and there's a predominant influence. There are different predominant influences that again, the Buddha points to. There's like, okay, there's the predominant influence of the world, social situation, social expectations, the assumptions of what is passed on as knowledge or standards in the world, and or what is sort of what the world is chasing after. And but then what is also predominant is what the sense of self is what the limitations that we place on ourselves, the ideas that we have about ourselves, and that you realize we come from these different biases of who I am, what I can and can't do, what I should and shouldn't be, and this self-view. It's a limitation, but it's predominant. But then the Buddha said, there's when we use the Dhamma as the predominant influence, then we're aligning ourselves with truth, aligning ourselves with what is really possible from the Buddha's perspective. So it's just encouraging ourselves to question our assumptions and realize that the mind of peace is always here. It's within the heart, but we have to shift our attention in a skillful way and allow it to kind of manifest or to flourish, to show up. And that stilling of the mind, or being comfortable with stillness, gives the opportunity for us to see more clearly. So anyway, those are some reflections, thoughts for reflection this evening.
It's okay if you ask questions. If anyone has any
questions. Anybody have any questions? Opportunity?
I have a little bit of a question.
Sure.
I know the Buddha talks about the no-self and formlessness and kind of stepping back into unbound consciousness as our true nature, and then like all of the seeking though that's involved in all the dissecting the sutras and the rules, kind of keeps us in that seeking state.
Yep.
How do you balance the not seeking with that formlessness?
Suffering and the end of suffering. Keep it simple. Keep it direct. Keep it experiential. It's really important because we it's easy to leap to the mode of, say, analysis or projection or philosophy of it. But yeah, keep it on the level of the experiential mode of, okay, this doesn't feel peaceful and wonderful. Where's the end of that? It's just keeping it there. There's your touchstone.
I think we're often given gifts in that direction that we aren't usually in a zone to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I think it relates to what Laura was just talking about. I came in this evening in a state of some anxiety.
Yeah.
Around being prepared. I have to be prepared because I'm taking this trip and I have to, and I'm leaving tomorrow, and so going into our meditation, of course I brought that along with me, and I'm trying to be still and be steady and patient, and then I heard the geese.
Yeah.
And there was a shift.
Oh, great. Yeah, a lot of it is just like that, just paying attention.
It's all out there, and it often comes from nature to us. And we're not used to looking at it or being ready to receive it.
Yeah, I think it's like being ready to receive
Being
it
ready to
is really important.
That's the practice.
Because that's the practice, and that's like that's again one of the qualities of when in the traditional chant of recollection of the Dhamma, the teachings. It's sort of one of the qualities is santitiko. It's apparent here and now, and we forget. So but it's like reminding us, oh yeah, it's apparent here and now. It's right here.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I feel as though I get lost in always wanting to keep going. And that was like how I was raised, where it was always the next thing that was happening.
Yeah.
And during meditation I can stop and slow down, but I feel as though I'm still always slipping away into thinking about the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if there's something that could like ground me, that you knew that would be more exact in the moment.
Your body. It's really helpful to like just getting in touch with the body, because our mind doesn't have a limit, and it doesn't. It's like trying to keep the mind in the present. It's really difficult, but it's like the beauty is that the body's always in the present moment. So it's like this getting in, just relaxing into the body, relaxing into the breath. It's a reminder, and just being able to let it remind you that, okay, here it is, there's this present moment. I can be here. You got another question? You had that look about you. Okay, good. John.
I was just reflecting on a little booklet, Our Real Home,
Yes.
from Krishna Chah, and that we really can't run away from home, but we can run to our home.
Right.
And part of that is setting up the causes and conditions and associating with the wise.
Yes.
And being in a peaceful spot to
Yep. Yeah.
to get back in touch with our real home.
Yeah.
So we can get distracted and start taking refuge in all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
That's what I took away from tonight.
Oh, good. Well, that's a good thing to take away from it. Because it's really, that idiom. Ajahn Chah was really the master of some really pithy sort of imagery or idioms, and like that. Just thinking, our real home is the sense of peace and truth, and and here it is all the time. Yeah, great.